over 60. These three missing minerals could be why your blood sugar won't go down, doctor explains. If you are over 60 and managing diabetes every single day, taking your medication, watching your diet, checking your blood sugar, and still feeling like nothing is truly improving, then stop for just a moment, because what I'm about to tell you may explain something your doctor never had time to connect. And before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now, because what you learn here each week could genuinely change the way you manage your health. And also comment below "ready," so I know you are following closely, and I can continue making more content that helps you. Now let's begin. Because there is something happening inside your body every single day that almost no one is talking about, and it may be one of the hidden reasons your blood sugar stays harder to control than expected. Most people think diabetes is only about sugar and insulin, but the deeper truth is that your body depends on a delicate balance of minerals to make insulin actually work, and when that balance is disrupted, everything becomes harder than it should be. Here is what most people never realize. When your blood sugar rises, your kidneys go into protection mode. They start flushing out excess glucose through urine. But what is rarely explained is that this process does not remove sugar alone. It also pulls out essential minerals, quietly and continuously. Minerals that your body depends on for energy, nerve function, and insulin sensitivity. And because type 2 diabetes often keeps blood sugar elevated over time, this loss becomes constant, not occasional. And this is where things start to quietly break down inside the body. Let me show you the three most important minerals involved: magnesium, zinc, and chromium, and why losing them may be one of the missing pieces in your diabetes management. Starting with magnesium, because this is where the cycle begins. Magnesium is one of the most important minerals for blood sugar control, yet it is also one of the most commonly depleted in people with diabetes. Magnesium is directly involved in how insulin communicates with your cells. When insulin arrives at a muscle cell, it is trying to unlock the door so glucose can enter and be used for energy. But magnesium is part of the internal mechanism that allows that signal to work properly. Without enough magnesium, the cell response becomes slower, weaker, and less efficient, meaning glucose stays in the bloodstream longer, and blood sugar remains elevated. But here is where the problem becomes serious. High blood sugar causes more magnesium loss, and low magnesium makes insulin work worse, which leads to even higher blood sugar. And the cycle continues silently, day after day. This is why many people feel stuck, even when they are doing everything right. And the symptoms often do not look dramatic at first. Just persistent fatigue, muscle cramps at night, poor sleep, tingling in the feet, restlessness, or a general sense that energy is not what it used to be. And most people assume this is simply aging. But in many cases, it is the body struggling with a mineral it no longer has enough of. And the good news is, magnesium can be supported through simple daily foods. Cooked spinach is one of the most effective sources, because cooking helps release magnesium from plant fibers. Pumpkin seeds are another powerful option. Just a small handful daily provides a meaningful amount of magnesium without affecting blood sugar. Almonds, avocado, and dark chocolate above 70% cacao also help support levels. And if supplementation is needed, magnesium glycinate is often the most easily absorbed form with the least digestive discomfort. But always consult your doctor first, especially if you have kidney or heart conditions. Now, before we move forward, let me ask you something important. Have you ever experienced nighttime leg cramps or tingling in your feet? If yes, comment yes below, because what you are experiencing may not just be aging, and you are not alone. Now let's move to the second mineral, zinc. Zinc plays a completely different, but equally important role in diabetes management, because zinc is essential for how insulin is produced, stored, and released inside the pancreas. Insulin is packaged in a very precise way, and zinc helps maintain the structure that keeps insulin stable and ready for release. Without enough zinc, this process becomes less efficient, meaning insulin may not be released in the right amount at the right time. But zinc does even more than that. It is also essential for immune function, wound healing, and protection against oxidative stress caused by high blood sugar. When zinc is low, people often notice slower healing cuts, more frequent infections, increased sugar cravings, hair thinning, dry skin, or changes in taste and smell. But these signs are often ignored or mistaken for normal aging. Zinc is found in foods like pumpkin seeds, which are especially valuable because they also support magnesium. Lean beef, eggs, chickpeas, and lentils also contain zinc. However, plant-based sources require proper preparation, such as soaking or sprouting, to improve absorption, which is something most people are never told. Now let's go deeper into the third mineral, chromium, because this one is often completely overlooked. Chromium works at the very first step of insulin function. Think of insulin as a key trying to connect with a lock on your cells. Magnesium helps the internal process work once the door is open. But chromium helps ensure that the lock actually recognizes the key in the first place. Without enough chromium, insulin binding becomes weaker and less effective, meaning glucose does not enter cells as easily, and blood sugar stays higher than it should. And here is something even more important. Stress and poor sleep can accelerate chromium loss, which is especially common in older adults managing chronic conditions. Which means the emotional and physical stress of diabetes itself can make blood sugar harder to control over time. Foods like broccoli, eggs, lean meats, and Brazil nuts are good sources of chromium. And broccoli in particular is one of the simplest and most powerful additions you can make to your meals. Now here is the key insight that ties everything together. These three minerals are not independent. They work as a system. Magnesium helps insulin work inside the cell. Zinc supports insulin production and signaling. And chromium helps insulin bind effectively at the receptor level. When all three are depleted at the same time, which is extremely common in long-term diabetes, the entire system becomes less efficient. Even if you are taking medication and eating carefully. And this is why many people feel frustrated, like nothing is changing, even though they are trying hard, because the issue is not effort. It is missing raw materials the body needs to respond properly. So what can you do starting this week? Begin with small, consistent steps. Add cooked spinach to one meal every day. Add a small handful of pumpkin seeds daily. Include broccoli a few times per week. Prioritize better sleep whenever possible. Reduce excess sugar and processed foods. And if you are considering supplements, always speak with your healthcare provider first, especially if you are on medication for blood sugar, blood pressure, or kidney health. Because real improvement does not happen overnight. It happens gradually, as the body slowly restores balance. And when that balance begins to return, many people notice better sleep, improved energy, fewer cramps, and more stable blood sugar readings over time. Not instantly, but consistently. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these three minerals do you think your body may be lacking? Magnesium, zinc, or chromium? Comment below. And if this helped you understand something that was never clearly explained before, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who is struggling with diabetes. Because sometimes, one missing piece of information can completely change how someone understands their health and their future.